My name is Agina, and I come from a loving, middle-class family that believed in kindness, trust, and respect for everyone, regardless of their background. Life in our peaceful neighborhood was steady and predictable. My parents worked hard to ensure a safe, happy environment for me. We trusted those around us implicitly, sometimes too much. One person we placed immense trust in was our longtime house servant, Ramesh. Ramesh had been with us for more than a decade. An elderly man with gray hair and a seemingly gentle demeanor, he was treated like family. My parents often spoke about his loyalty and dedication. He had watched me grow up, from a curious child to a young woman. I had always seen him as a harmless presence, a figure of quiet familiarity within our home. But trust, I learned, is fragile. It began with subtle incidents that I brushed off as mere accidents. Ramesh would stand too close when talking to me, linger in spaces where he had no reason to be, or touch my hand unnecessarily while handing me something. His eyes would often stay on me longer than was comfortable. I convinced myself that it was nothing. He's just old, I thought. Maybe he doesn't realize how awkward he's being. But those moments piled up, and unease crept into my mind like a persistent shadow. One afternoon, my parents had gone out for a family event, leaving me alone at home. I was sitting in the living room, reading a book, when Ramesh entered without knocking. The air around him felt different that day, heavier, unsettling. He didn't speak, just stood there watching me. "Do you need something, Ramesh?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He shook his head but didn't move. My heart began to race. I felt trapped, cornered by a man I had trusted my entire life. Before I could say anything else, he stepped closer, invading my personal space. I tried to back away, but the couch behind me blocked my escape. His hand brushed against my arm, not in a clumsy or accidental way, but with deliberate intent. "Stay back," I warned, my voice trembling but firm. He ignored me, his actions becoming bolder. Fear gripped me like never before. I wanted to scream, but the shock paralyzed my throat. The room seemed to close in on me, my senses overwhelmed by disbelief and terror. But deep within me, anger flared. A fierce, burning defiance. I refused to be a victim. Summoning every ounce of strength, I pushed him away with all my might. "Get away from me!" I shouted, my voice finally breaking free. Ramesh stumbled back, momentarily stunned. I seized the chance to escape, bolting upstairs and locking myself in my room. My hands shook as I dialed my mother's number. "Mom!" I whispered, barely able to speak through my panic. "Please come home, now!" Hearing the fear in my voice, she didn't ask questions. "We're coming," she assured me. Within minutes, my parents were home. My father's face was a mask of rage, while my mother looked heartbroken and worried. I recounted everything through sobs, my mother holding me tightly. My father wasted no time. He called the police, his voice filled with controlled fury. "You're not getting away with this," he told Ramesh when the officers arrived. Ramesh was arrested that evening, led out of our house in handcuffs. As he was taken away, I felt a mix of relief, anger, and lingering fear. The man who had been part of our family for years had betrayed our trust in the worst possible way. In the days that followed, I struggled with a storm of emotions: shame, confusion, guilt, and anger. I questioned myself repeatedly. Had I done something wrong? Should I have spoken up sooner? My parents were my pillars of strength. They reminded me that I was not to blame, and that what Ramesh had done was a crime, not a mistake. Therapy became an essential part of my healing process. Talking to a counselor helped me unpack the trauma and rebuild my confidence. I learned that what happened was not my fault, and that silence only empowers those who seek to harm. By speaking up, I had reclaimed my power. Over time, I transformed my pain into purpose. I began sharing my story with others, encouraging young women and men to trust their instincts and speak out against harassment or abuse. I wanted to be a voice for those who felt voiceless, to remind them that they are never alone and that justice is possible. This experience changed me forever. It made me stronger, more assertive, and unafraid to defend my dignity. I learned the value of courage, even when fear tries to hold you back. To anyone reading this, never let fear silence you. Trust your instincts, speak up, and seek help. There is always someone willing to listen, to stand by your side, and to fight for your safety and dignity. My story is not just about what happened to me. It's about resilience, courage, and the unshakable belief that light can conquer even the darkest moments.